Welcome back to the Mael Time podcast. Today's episode is a powerful and emotional tribute to a fallen hero. We're honored to be joined by Amit Tzur, who shares the story of his younger brother, Staff Sergeant Adi Tzur, a 20-year-old Golani soldier from Jerusalem who gave his life protecting others on October 7th, 2023, during the Hamas attacks by Kesufim. Adi was more than a soldier. He was a quietly assertive, deeply thoughtful young man known for his calm strength, modesty, and unwavering sense of purpose. Today, Amit gives us a glimpse into the heart and soul of his brother, the devoted son, the Real Madrid superfan, and the kind spirit whose courage touched everyone around him. Amit, thanks so much for joining.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
It's crazy. It's been over 500 and something days. How are you feeling now? We're recording this on April 2nd, 2025.
I cannot really describe how I'm feeling or what really I've been through in this all 5 and some days, but it's difficult to explain. But you feel like something in you just broke and can't feel the hole and I'm sorry, but it's really difficult. But there's nothing I can say that can explain or describe it. It's feel like nothing you can do about it and can fix the breaks like other situation in your life that you are can do better tomorrow. Can you fix it tomorrow or in the next week or in the next year? There's no more opportunities for me, for my little brother. So I feel that it's very, very difficult to explain.
And of course, the entire Jewish people and anybody who's a half decent individual thinks about you and your family and the soldiers who sacrificed their lives and the innocent civilians who fell. Can you take me back to your childhood? What was it like growing up with your brother? What's the age gap? And what was your life like in the 10 or so years before October 7th?
You just tell me this and you see me smile, so you do your job great because you make me to remind how it's like before a guy fell on us. So like you said, Adi was my younger brother, the youngest of 3. Gap of ages was 11 years between my big brother Roy and Adi, and between me and Adi was 7 years. So he was very, very young. Actually, the most of our child, he was like our child. Our everyone look at him like, today I'm your father. Today he is your father, and all of us have a strong opinion how we need to do it and how he need to live and how we need to grow. But he have his way. He keep his way without do any noise about it. Just know in himself that he have his way and he will arrive whenever he will need to go. So he was born on December 2002 and grew up in Jerusalem. He was a super fan of football. You said what you call the soccer. Big fan of the game. He loved to play and call everyone in the neighborhood, even the kid that no one want to call them, no one thinking of them actually exist to call them and to make them friends and to make them feel
Amit, you
like
there?
home. Feel like me and you are the same. There is no different. He's friends from.
One sec. It just froze on me there. I missed you for.
So when
It froze on me when you said what you call soccer, he liked to call everyone from the neighborhood.
Yeah. So I just told so that he exists to call everyone who other guys didn't see. The kid who doesn't have a friends, and
he was looking out for those who were vulnerable and who weren't necessarily popular.
every time it's like was like obsessed. We was like obsessed to kids with problem, to kids with no friends, because he grew up through the
Difficulties.
yeah.
He was always looking out for those who weren't necessarily the most popular or who had the easiest time.
Yeah.
He was a nice person in that sense.
More 10,000 times than that, but yeah, he was funny and brave and sensitive and humble all at once. He had this rare energy that made people feel safe, and at the same time he made them laugh. He made them laugh. So people actually feel nearby him like they home. He had a friend that came to me after this happened and tell me, I came from US on very older age. It's 16, and I didn't know nothing here. And Adi actually get me in, let me get in, let me be who I am, near everyone, with everyone. It's not the first time that happens. It's also in the army. Of his friends always said that he gave them a place in his heart and in the entire company.
He was always caring, and I'll tell you from the soldiers of his that I've spoken to, everyone absolutely loved him, which
Yeah,
is part of the reason that of course, I want to tell as many stories here as possible. I was told from a number of people that it's very important to tell Adi's story. Were you all Golan chicks? Was it a family legacy of being in Golani, or he kind of discovered that on his own?
my brother was on one battalion like Adi, exactly the same. But me I was in Givati on Shaked battalion.
So we won't hold that against you. That's okay.
Yeah, I know. It's really shame, but I'm really proud of this, of that, both of them, and this is the legacy. This is actually the legacy. My father, my grandfather was a hero, and he was involved in so many battles. And before the country actually came, he fight for this country before the country actually exists. So yeah, so this is the legacy.
What did your grandfather do exactly?
He came here from Colombia he was 3 years old, and then he and his brother go to the Haganah and Etzel and Palmaf.
The paramilitary groups that existed before the foundation of the IDF, for those who are unfamiliar, and they fought to establish the state of Israel before there was a
to
formal army.
to occupation Jerusalem, to united Jerusalem. So we grew up uh, with legacy in our heart. It's part of us. It's actually describe who we are.
So when's the last time that you spoke to Adi before October 7th? When's the last time you saw him?
Okay, so I saw him actually 1 week before this happened on my parents' home, and actually we made a travel to the Kinneret. The Kinneret was his
Happy place. He
his
enjoyed it.
paradise. Oh, it's
Paradise.
paradise.
Right.
Actually, paradise. He loved this place more than anything. Uh, uh, w- uh, once in an year, once a year, he he actually made us all to go to travel to the Kinneret, to Kibbutz and Gev, to be on the beach, a family vacation. And for the last time, he did it with his girlfriend that they're calling Bal, and they was 6 years together, and for this travel, he made her to come and her family to come. So we both family go with those childs and celebrating her birthday, and everything was like in the paradise. Yeah, we were so happy for them, so happy for him that he seems like he actually know what's better for him and do what's better for him anytime. And he was late bloomer as a child, so it's like it seems like he had the top at this time.
He was trending in the right direction, and he was really becoming the best version of himself.
The best. And then on October 7, I was I just wake up and on 6:30 a.m. and my big brother was woke up. I don't know, but it's really strange that we three of us was on a Saturday on 6:30 to be
Awake, alert.
yeah, awake. The three of us be awake, and Adi was on a patrol mission between 5 to 8 a.m. He need to be on a patrol
On the
mission.
Kisafine border
Yeah,
from the Kisafine base.
yeah. So
Did he receive any alerts when he took over and the shift was changed at 5 a.m.? Did he
not at all.
receive?
Not at
So
all. Not at all. Not at all. They have before the mission, before any mission in the army, we have a brief from the commander. The brief wasn't include any of alerts.
have you seen the brief?
No, but I met the commanders, and they let me know what they said. So they didn't know too.
So your brother is sent to guard the Kisafine base after, sorry, the border. The army, the Shin Bet, the head of Southern Division, Yaron Finkelman, they're all aware that there's something going on in Gaza and there's potential infiltration. They sent a team called the Tequila Team under the instruction of Ronen Bar with Yamam and Shin Bet people, plain clothes, I believe, to the border, or they're on their way. But your brother, who was actually guarding the border, was not given any indication that there was anything going on.
Didn't give any indication, and you said some name that I want to tell something about him. You said Yaron Finkelman, and I want you to know that he was my commander at Givati. He was my machat at Givati. And at his time in Givati, I sent to officer course to be an Givati officer. I didn't like the way that they training you to this part in your life on Bahad Echad, because I did some commander. I was a commander in the army before the course, and actually I get my machlaka, and actually I know what people we sorry.
Well,
How
Amit, I wanna say I was saving this, but in February you published something, which is how I first came to know your name. And again, thank you, Amit, for joining and speaking in not your native tongue, English. So what I'll do here, I was saving this for later, but I'll read it now. This is something you published that went pretty viral on Facebook in February of 2025, and I translated it to English. Who believes the IDF that October 7th will not return? I love the IDF, not the leadership, not the rotten system. I love the warriors, those who throw on their backs 40 kilos of equipment and go to battle because they have no choice. Those in 10-7 did not wait for orders from the failed command, but got up alone, took weapons, fought until the last bullet, died with their finger on the trigger. These are the ones I love. These are the ones I admire. But the truth is that the IDF doesn't like them back, because if he loved them, he genuinely cared for them. If he loved them, he would not have just sent them to die time after time with the same mistakes, with the same negligence, with the same empty words of, we will learn lessons. How many of you believe in the promise that there will be no more October 7th? I don't believe it. Since October 7th, I see the same commanders with the same attitudes. I see the same people who prevented soldiers from shooting until October 7th because it was not clear that it was permitted to shoot based on the rules of engagement. I see these people sitting in their roles. I see the same system that rewards those who lower their head and survive it, not those who fight. I see the same IDF, the same weak command that preserves culture and does not throw anything with the same excuses. I'm not buying this story again. We will take lessons, words that are poison in the veins. I was told this when Adi fell. I guess the system. You with me? Okay. I was told this when Adi fell. Tell it to the parents of the soldiers who died yesterday that after the disaster of Shadows, after the APC disaster, after every failure that led to more blood spilled for nothing, but these lessons are not really produced because this whole system is based on self-lie. How will you learn from the same people who caused previous failures to higher positions? How will you change if the one who needs to change is exactly the one who enjoys the situation as it is? How can we believe if even the IDF doesn't really believe in itself? I'm writing this as someone who paid the highest price. I know how the system works. I served as a commander in Givati. I commanded dozens of soldiers without extreme ranks at all. I went out to Badachad because I wanted to change. I wanted to become one of the commanders that will fight to make the IDF better. But then I realized that this system doesn't want to change, that the system prefers to promote those who know how to play the game, not those who can really lead. I walked out, not because I was afraid of responsibility, but because I knew that I had no intention of taking part in this failed experiment. Then I got scolded. The commander that told me that it's irresponsible for me to leave, that I don't understand how things work, today he is the head of Southern Command. Today he is the one who led one of the biggest crashes in Israeli military history. And I asked myself, who really needed to be reprimanded? Who really wasn't worthy to command soldiers? How many more like him climb up, not because they're good, but because they know how to survive? How many more soldiers will die before they understand that the problem is not with the people on the field, but with those who run them? The IDF is not a circle. This is not a graduation ceremony. It's not a summer camp for 3 years. This is an army and people are dying for it. It's not an exciting banding path for parents. It's a place where warriors' lives depend on people who do not deserve to lead them. Every time someone tells you that the IDF will produce lessons, ask yourself, when was the last time you heard this sentence and how many soldiers have died since then? I don't believe the IDF when he says that October 7th will not return. Do you? I'm not against the IDF. I'm against the lie that the IDF tells itself and tells the Israeli people. The problem is not the fighters, not those who are there in their body and soul. The problem is those who run them, and the problem is that there is no one to stop them. What can we change? I will tell you, you never know how a commander will function in the moment of truth. I say it's just a lie because you may know. It is possible and should test commander under pressure to test who is worthy of leadership and who is freezing in the moment of truth. But it doesn't happen because some don't want it to happen. There are those who prefer commanders according to obedience rather than ability. There are those who want to maintain a system in which those who are good at relationships, they progress, and those who are really not burn on the way. There are those who believe that the problem is that we do not have enough soldiers and not that the soldiers we have managed in a way lead to unnecessary death. Command must be more mature, stronger, realer. Command they will test under pressure and will not wait for the moment of truth to discover that he wasn't worthy of his position from day one. Because the lives of their soldiers should not be a test tool. Because the phrase, we will take lessons, is not an excuse when soldiers are dead. And these are not magic words that are said enough. The military produces the same lessons too often, yet it is the organization that uses the overrated phrase most. I know how that works. I could see this happening. I lost my brother because of this. I don't believe the IDF when he says that October 7th will not return. Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess that you're not a fan of your own Finkelman. How was this received when you published it?
I actually don't care, but people in Israel so love the army. It's like it's our ethos. It's our. You cannot harm the army because it's all of us. It's our. You. I don't want to do it.
Well, the only way you can actually improve is if you tell the truth. And
Yeah.
there's a culture of lying in which people cover up the problems. I mean, if you saw what the ombudsman said yesterday, the state comptroller, he came out and said that when they did a review in July of 2023, there were unarmed vehicles in the north. There was missing equipment. Soldiers weren't even authorized to use the weapon systems that they were given on their base. And he gave this to Netanyahu. He gave this to Gallant. He gave this to Ori Gordon, Herzl Levy, and none of them did anything. So they are responsible and need to not only apologize, but there has to be some sort of price that's paid. The fact that Finkelman walks out with a pension and he resigns, he isn't fired. I'm not really sure what is going on.
What's going on here? I would say it's more than, I don't know, it's more than the life that I live, but Israel and the army, like a microcosmos, it's like, you said it better than me, this is the culture of liars, we are actually lying. We didn't see it. We didn't see that in the last week we are lose some family in Jerusalem because they are religious, or Fogel family on Itamar, or now it's Bibas. It's Bibas family. So we all scream and cut our shirts, but what was before? What's different? You all knew about it. You all knew that out of the line there is 2 million people who want to kill you, and you left here some 30 of 51 anti-battalion of Golani. What the fuck? What the fuck? How it's possible? There is a lot of difficulties here in the commander, or in the bigger commander, or the lowest commander. But in Israel, we love silence. We love to live the life like Europe, to think like we are living Europe,
and everything will just be fine.
Yeah.
I'll say this. It doesn't make sense to me that on one hand, people are very loud when it comes to business, when it comes to their opinion on religion. If you sit at a Shabbat table, very rarely will you have someone who's quiet if they're from Israel when it comes to having an opinion. But for whatever reason, when it comes to the army, people just clamp up. What I've been saying is there needs to be criminal charges against these people for being negligent and not actually taking care of the soldiers. They were responsible for the lives of the soldiers. And for example, if your brother decided that he wasn't going to show up on the base that weekend and he was going to give himself a vacation, or he didn't do his job properly, he could face military prison.
Of
right?
course.
You have people that were entrusted with the lives of the soldiers, and they knew they're missing equipment. They knew they're missing proper preparation. They knew that the balloons were down on the border. They knew that they didn't have enough vehicles, and they didn't do anything.
Responsibility, it's how you look at it. I think responsibility is one thing. Before this happened, if you screw it, you will pay for it. But the lesson I've been learned, and I think the whole country learned, that when you are climbing the rares, so you can screw, and you just screw. So he will leave the job when it's
When he feels right.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see the statement from Chaim Cohen? He was the Northern Brigade commander who just resigned, and he was in charge. Presumably, your brother's life was under his command, and he hid in his office all day and didn't come out on October 7th when everything was going on. Asaf Hamami, Hashem Yikom Damo, he went out. He left his 5-year-old back at the base and went out. Unfortunately, was killed. But Chaim Cohen hid in his office, and completely against Army protocol, completely against any sort of leadership that the IDF would expect of any soldier.
Yeah, of course.
And now he says he's going to resign. He still has his pension, and he says he's going to focus on himself and his family. How is that just?
People, I just think that people look at them like they are doing everything for us. They no have a really responsibility. And actually, the army is a big deal for us. So what can we do? Until it touched us, me and you actually don't care about it. It's so sad and so bad and how it's happened, but it's 1 week, 2 week, and then 500 days ago, and nothing at all. Everyone here, everyone here, not that just the army, are just talking like the stereotype of us, Israeli. We are louder and noisier than we are just when
You're
louder
saying
and
the bark is louder than the bite, and that
yeah, of
people.
course.
But I'll say this: the thing that's so disappointing to me is that the people themselves that are in the system are amazing, and you couldn't ask for better people than people like your brother and the other people who fought heroically and would give anything up. Or you see, while Chaim Cohen is hiding in his office like a coward,
Yeah,
people from Tekoa, from Itamar, from Haifa, from Tel Aviv, from all over the country are running to come save people. And the people that were actually in charge of your brother's life were hiding.
yeah, you're right.
And there's no penalty.
No, I tell you this. The commander of Adi, who fell with him, Michael Ben Chemo, was a great child. Was a really great child and smart. And the one the one you want to put your brother in his
Right.
arm.
You trust him because he was
Yeah,
a real
because
commander.
it was a very, very good commander, very good man, and his dignity didn't let him to stay in the army. The army want him very much to stay, to go to officer on a bad echad, and he tell them that they can fuck off because he didn't believe the system, because he saw them like I saw them, the system.
Right. So you're saying that the best people are getting pushed out because when they try to speak up differently and say that something isn't right, then they're not being appreciated and they're not advancing. I'll tell you this, as someone who from the outside, and I don't know, a few people introduced us. I'll tell you that. So we've helped with equipment and helping soldiers. And someone the other day asked me, how did you get going? And I said, well, I had a family member who was in training and they had nothing and they were about to go to Gaza. And I started investigating the problem because people couldn't believe that these problems were real.
Yeah.
And the more that I investigated, the more, I don't want to say shocked, but the more obvious it became to me that these problems were very well known. They're not secrets. They might not be talked about because the media doesn't want to talk about it, but these problems are very well known in the army. They were very obvious, and there was a pressure and a culture, a bullying culture of getting people to shut up. And because I'm not in the army and I've only become friends with many thousands of people in the army, tens of thousands of people in the army, if you just listen enough, you can pick up on what is going on. And it's really obvious.
Exactly.
So people would say, why do you need to have the best gear? You're not in Sarat Matkal. You're not going into Syria or something along those lines. And the answer to that is, if you're wearing a green uniform and you're tasked with defending the border of the state of Israel, you are constantly under threat and you deserve basic equipment. You deserve to be treated seriously. You're not a mall cop. You're not guarding the local shoe store from getting robbed. You are guarding the civilians of the state of Israel, and you have people that are committed to murdering you at all times. So if your surveillance balloon doesn't work, it needs to be replaced right away. If your car isn't bulletproof and you're doing patrols, it needs to be fixed. If you're missing plates, and I know there was someone from Golani 51 that day who fell after they took his plates away from him, you deserve to have ceramic plates. And these issues were known, and none of these superior officers did anything, which makes them negligent, because these things are so obvious that all you have to do is take a look from a little bit further away and ask, how is this possible? They treated it like, oh, it's a Simchat Torah, so therefore we're all going on a break. What is that? You think that, oh, we forgot to tell Hamas and Hezbollah, do not attack us because it's Simchat Torah at Shabbat. It doesn't work like that.
No.
And if you, especially when you have people's brothers and their children and their lives, they trust you. And unfortunately, I've learned too much. It's kind of, someone said it's like the Matrix. You take the blue pill, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. And everything is seen through that lens. And it doesn't detract from the legacy of anybody who fell, but it's saying that we're trying to prevent the next person, because like you said in your beautiful post, God forbid it happens again, because they don't actually learn from it. And I can only imagine how frustrating it is when your family pays the ultimate price.
Couldn't agree with you more than that. It's pure negligence of a lot of commanders in this army. But I don't know how to say it. But I think the negligence it's on it's all of us have a part of it, because today I'm feel what can I do, but I thought I have many thoughts. But if I need to, after my army I need to fight, after my service in the army I need to fight in the army, and said that this is very bad organization who doesn't learn nothing and bullshit everyone every time terrible things happen. And he said exactly the same
They
same
learn
thing.
lessons. It was a tragic.
How is it possible? How that's possible? How that possible? No one here come to the army and tell him what learning are you actually learn, and what you gonna do in the next time.
Well, you know what? I'll answer the question, which I've seen a little bit. Part of the challenge is, and this is speaking to bereaved families like yourself and others. Part of the challenge is that if people speak up about this, they don't want it to take away from the legacy of their loved one. And they're worried that if they only speak about that, then that's how their
Yeah, I know.
child or brother will be remembered. Now, I'll say this. I don't think that that's true. I think that multiple things can be true at once. You can talk about it separately. I also think that it doesn't take losing a loved one to call out some of these problems, because sometimes people will say, Daniel, you're not in the army, so you shouldn't talk about this because you're not aware, you haven't been in the system. And my point is, people hire consultants all the time. You can look at a situation from the outside and say, as an outsider, this is something that has to change. So it shouldn't be that just because someone didn't lose a brother or a sister, God forbid, that therefore their opinion doesn't matter. So they use all these ways to try to block it. And
it's the same in all of the security in Israel, in all of the security system in Israel, the Shabak and the Mossad and the army. They are I don't know, משבטים, עושים שיבוט.
It's a cycle. They're blocking, and
Yeah.
they block other things out. Right. But it's a problem, because a lot of these things, I'll give an example. When they mention unarmored vehicles, they're talking about the Nagmash, which was a 1960s or 50s era car from the United States. There are soldiers that died in incidents with a Nagmash in 1996, in 2002 or 2003, in 2014, and the Nagmash was still used in certain areas in this war. After all of these incidents where they knew that it wasn't fit for combat, and I know that they made promises to certain families that one of the lessons they learned from their son dying was that they wouldn't use the Nagmash anymore. And yet it was still being used. Or you had people that died in a Merkava 3 that didn't have bomb proofing on the bottom. So they know that the tank wasn't bomb proof on the bottom for the Merkava 3 because it wasn't designed to be
but
bomb proof.
but
So
it wasn't their child.
so you think that it's because it's not their child that they're not taking
Yeah,
it seriously.
yeah, of course.
Now I do want to touch on Adi's heroism of that day.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, on October 7, around 6:30 on the a.m. in the morning, Adi sent us a few messages in our family group. He even sent a video with sound and you actually saw the rockets in the backgrounds. The first we thought it was just another round of rockets fired from Gaza, like we've seen so many times before.
Or the charging the fence, right? Because they've been charging the fence at Kisufim in the months before.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. But it's like a regular round of rockets. We actually so regular to this. So I can't tell you that we weren't worried, because we are. But we didn't imagine anything beyond it.
Understood.
But that was the last message we received from Adi at 6. Adi was Adi was nearby Kisufim at the time, and at this very time, they have a call from the Titpitaniyot. They said some terrorists are breaking the yeah, and they are on their way to Kisufim. So the team, Adi and his team, and Michael and Itamar, decide at this moment that they should go to the I don't know, the nearby Gaza border is the
They want to go to a lookout point to see what was going on.
uh,
Right.
the
So they want to go to the high point so they can see what's going on.
So they jump into the jeep without heavy gear, and went out to stop the inflation. But when they got there, they were ambushed by dozens of terrorists, not just four like the Tatpianiot said.
The message that they had received was actually even different than the reality on the ground.
Yeah,
They'd been told about a
the
break-in.
Tatpianiot said what they saw at this very
Correct. Okay.
moment, and the cashier,
Communication system.
yeah, was in the chaos,
Yep. Absolutely. So basically everyone's radio is going crazy. They don't really understand what's going on. They never prepared for thousands of people going at the wall at one time. So it wasn't even a thought. Right. Okay.
So suddenly, on the way to the terrorists, they like I told you, they were ambushed by dozens of terrorists, heavily armed. Adi jumped out immediately and started firing, trying to protect his team. And Michael, exactly the same. He jumped through the jeep, and just like two of them, and the three of their friends uh, get heavily armed. Itamar.
Yeah, you get shot, and they get another one gets shot in the head. Yeah,
The command of Adi called Avikasa get shot in his head.
he just got engaged. Mazal tov.
Yeah, you're updated.
By the way, they're not my soldiers, but I care about them, which is the
Yeah,
thing. So when you actually care about people, you
incredible,
you learn about it.
incredible, man. So yeah, it's just really close to engage so sorry, because זה חותך לי את החוט מחשבה קצת. אז the driver was hit, Sagi, was hit in his head, and the vehicle, he moved the vehicle to reverse.
Right.
But Adi and Michael stayed behind. They fought alone, face to face with overwhelming forces, and Adi gave his life protecting others like Michael. And later, we told that his actions delayed the terrorists and helped save many lives all over Kisufim. Kisufim was the
It was basically it was right on the border, and the fact that they stood up and delayed the situation saved many lives.
many lives.
What was your reaction when you finally received the report from the IDF?
So it's a really story because it's not like a regular
Incident.
yeah, but and it's very all over the country. It touched so many people, and so many people died as and kidnapped this day. It's took 3 days. 3 days. On Sunday, Itamar called me from the hospital and said me that he have to tell me the truth before everyone gets me, because he know I'm searching for a day, and because he think he must do it, and he tell me, I'm sorry, we left them behind. Sorry, there is a fight and we left them behind, and I'm very sorry that I couldn't do more. You can
I
imagine
can
that.
imagine the response.
Yeah, that I just have a very verification for this for my bad thoughts, who start on 6:42 a.m. and on Sunday evening I was going to lab. It's officer police. We need to verification some
Yeah.
people, yeah, with DNA. And I met a army officer that tell me you should sit. I'm sorry, but I can't tell you exactly what about the D, but I can tell you that he's not in the injuries list. He's not in the kidnap list. Just going through about the list, and after she didn't name the list of the death. So I asked her, so he died, and she just looked at me and do something like that, and like
It was chaos. They had no. There weren't enough people. The area
yeah,
wasn't secure. Right.
yeah, of course.
Do you now? I want to provide a little bit of context for the listeners about the driver and what happened. They were ambushed, and Avi Costa gets shot in the head. Itamar gets shot in his left arm and in his shoulder, just above the skin. A miracle that he did not get hit in the face or something like that. So you can imagine the chaos and confusion that immediately erupts. And Sagi reverses. Obviously, you have dozens of terrorists with RPGs and grenades, and there's missiles flying, and nobody knows what's going on. Are you mad at him for reversing?
Actually, no, because I understand that if they were stay with Adi and Michael, so they all was gone. They all gone in this situation. They have no chance. They have no chance. Micro Tavor, it's one shot. It's a single shot. Bam, 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 and
they're using AK-47 fire.
AK-47 and rockets and grenades and RPGs, and face to face, and you didn't prepare for that. What your chances is?
Have you met the driver?
Yeah, of course. We took every one of them to this very place to get an explanation for what they passed through. And
what was that like? It must have been very emotional.
yeah, very emotional. I hate to say that, but they are just a child. Just
Yeah, right. They were 20-year-olds who were on the border.
they're
Right.
just kids, and he's afraid. He's afraid, and I didn't blame him because I know what make people to להסתער, to go all in. And it's about two things. One of them, it's your commander. How honor you know how you honor him, and
The respect you have for your
yeah,
commander, right?
yeah, you know. And the second and the most important thing that people don't know, that the friends make you to be like that. Me and you don't know each other, and because of that, I don't know what can be in this situation. But I know that if we are be together 3 years ago, sleep together and eat together and everything together, there is no chance I leave you behind. So in other unit on 51, in other pluga on 51. So the army, the commander are screwed because they make a combination from a driver from one unit and four a soldier from other. They are all Golani, they are all 51,
Right,
but
but you're saying they didn't have the same brotherhood aspect, and when he was reversing, perhaps he was his fight or flight
yeah,
instinct wasn't the same. It's also very challenging because they never prepared for anything like this,
yeah,
and
yeah. You're
if
right, you're right.
there's no dress rehearsal, and you're staring death in the face, and the person to his left had just gotten shot in the head. So I can only imagine by a sniper. So I can only imagine what is going through his head. But that has to be quite an unbelievable conversation to go back to that spot with him. I think it's really commendable that you have the ability to see the situation from his eyes,
Thank you very much.
because I think, unfortunately, sometimes it's very emotional, and it makes sense to be angry. And I think it's important to direct that to the right places and those who.
I am angry, but in Hebrew we say להאשים את הש"ג. You know, to blame the little soldier
Correct. Right.
who
Exactly. It's not he. Let's put it this way: if they had received a phone call or a briefing at 5 o'clock saying this is what you have to be on the lookout for, then all of this situation is extremely different. If at 5 o'clock they said everybody who's home for Shabbat and Simchat Torah return to Kisufim immediately, everything is different. So you can't really blame the actions of those soldiers who were on the ground doing everything they could, especially when their division commander was hiding in his office and Khalifa was in a lot or wherever he was. Are you seeing changes now with Ayal Zamir? Do you feel that the IDF might go in a better direction?
I don't know, because it just started, but I hope. But if I need to say the truth, I can't see it right now because the army have to shake his bases.
You need to make fundamental change, and it's hard to make fundamental change when people think the same
You
way
know,
for
bring
years.
bring people like you who never be in the army and have just right common sense, just logic, and ask the question. You said you were shocked, but I promise everyone, when you are close to the wheel, you can see nothing. You can't see nothing. You should.
Right.
Then you can see the picture, the whole picture. So you look the picture from that, even from that. And we are here. We are in this very garbage. We can't see it. We can see it. We can tell it. We can talk honestly without any egos and some shameful honor. I didn't know how to say it. No.
Would you be willing to meet with a Herzia Levy or a Finkelman or people in that system with no recorders, no cameras, nothing, and just actually articulate these things?
Yeah, of course.
Do you
Of
think
course.
they would be willing to do it?
No, I'm pretty sure they.
It's very sad because I think, especially now that there's so many people who paid the ultimate price, now the conversation isn't just hypothetical. You're talking about actions that people took that had direct impact on people losing their lives, which is a very different, it just changes the way that you're able to have a conversation.
Yeah. Of course, those people, maybe they have names and faces, but it can be anyone. But the real problem is on ours, on every single one of us, because we need to take the responsibility, and we have the responsibility to keep other lives. Like Adi thought in this morning, like Michael thought in this morning, like every Golani soldiers or other unit in this morning, they thought they have the full responsibility for you and for me and for his mother and for kibbutzim, and as long you are climb up, you cannot see it, not in the army, not in the politics. So what you learn is it's for to climb if you want to
If you want to advance in life, you're basically taught to shut up, but you have to change that so that people can actually speak and it's not offensive to the person that
and
you're
you have to change
responding to.
your skin to be like the skin of the organization, because this is the way. This is the way. There is no other way.
I think that one of the lessons from October 7th is that things do need to change, and it's quite refreshing to speak to you and see that people are willing to speak out about it, because there are other lives at stake as well. It doesn't take away for 1 second what your brother did on that day. And his legacy is an unbelievable legacy of being an amazing human being, aside from being a soldier, but also being a soldier who died on behalf of the state of Israel. But speaking out about it and the culture that created that issue doesn't in any way detract from it. And frankly, has nothing to do with him. It's just there are soldiers that unfortunately have died,
Yeah.
and it needs to change, and it needs to be demanded. And I think also with so many people who served in Miluim, and everybody knows that there wasn't enough equipment. Everybody knows that the old stuff that was given to reservists was junk. Everybody knows that 95% of the drones that are used came from donations. Everybody knows that if they wanted to get fireproof uniforms for Miluim Nikim, they were donated. Everybody knows this. So therefore, if you want to change it, talk about it. And you have to talk about it loudly and switch it. And you see the consequence if you don't talk about things that are out in the open. So just talk about it. And this concept of just lying and pretending it didn't happen is very dangerous. And your family has paid the consequence of that. And the Jewish people have paid the consequences. And there's still hostages in Gaza because of this. And I also appreciate that you're focused on what we can change. So many times people like to focus on our enemies. And again, our enemies hate us.
Yeah.
They're trying to kill us. We know that. That's not news. Of course, we should highlight what they're doing. But we can't lose focus of what we're doing to help ourselves and the Jewish people, because we're so focused on the other side of the border or the other side or whatever's going on. We have to be focused also on making sure that we're maintaining our values. And that comes to valuing the lives of each and every soldier and making sure that people can genuinely say that when their son or daughter goes to the army, that they have the very best chance of doing their job and returning home safely. Closing thoughts here. What would you like the audience to take away from our conversation today?
I think the most important is they have full responsibility on what they have in their life, because you can say Amit can do anything. His brother was in the army, so other brother can do anything because his brother was in the Nova. But it's very, 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 very early than that. Start very early than that. We can't be,
Passive. I'm
passive.
guessing you're going to say.
Yeah, we can be passive about things like this, about things like life of others, because it's life, and after that, because sometime, somehow, it will touch you. So decide where you want to be, and where you want to be, or what you're gonna, or you are gonna to cry on your brother, or you are try to tell him every day that even if the best unit in the IDF, even he need to take control. He need to even don't listen sometimes and keep believing in himself and in his sense. It's sensitive and
Don't look away. If you see something, say something.
yeah, this is the one thing, the one thing, and the other thing is for the commander. You know, I was a commander. I spoke with so many commanders in my life, and even these commanders, even he was in life, and I tell them, you have a great responsibility. You didn't know that the army don't tell you about what you are getting in your hand. You are get in your hand full life of every parent, every single kid. It was full world. So you should love them. You should take care of them like they was your very child.
Please God, everybody can internalize that message. And when people have custodianship and they're in charge of the lives of the men and women, the young children, really, in Israel, that it's taken extremely seriously, and they're always given the best chance on the battlefield, whether that's making sure they have the right drones, protective equipment, updates in terms of what's going on in the battlefield, food, shelter, making sure that they're just given the best chance of doing their job well and surviving and being able to return home to their families. And there's a long way to go. But God willing, people like yourself continue to speak out. And Adiz Neshama Sheb and Aliyah, he is an inspiration, a personal inspiration for me, and I know for so many others who've heard his story and are inspired by his bravery. So I really appreciate you taking the time today, Amit.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity to say my opinion and to tell about Adi. It's the most thing in my life today. So thank you for that.
Thank you.